Hallelujah and welcome. You're welcome to today's inspirational and motivational moment. It's sponsored by the Celestial Church of Christ, Prince of Peace Parish, Omo Alade Alafia Parish number 3, and we're based at 150, that's 150 South Kennedy Drive in Carpentersville, Illinois with the zip code 60110. That's 150 South Kennedy Drive in Carpentersville, Illinois 60110. And you can get more information that'll help you change your life, overcome many of the problems that you may be facing either personally or professionally, and indeed avoid challenges and problems happening in the first place. So you can come worship with us, definitely come and grow with us, and you can get more information online at cccprinceofpeace.com. That's our website. It's at cccprinceofpeace.com. Now, from the website, you can also connect with us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and also our YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to come grow with us and to bring all your problems and lay them at the feet of God, of Jesus Christ, who we know can achieve all things and is actually, God's actually ready right now, is willing and is also able to help you solve any problems that you may be facing, and indeed to allow you to enjoy the life that you really deserve to live. So please remember to connect with us online at cccprinceofpeace.com. Okay, so today's inspirational and motivational moment is about creating the life you want, and doing that by tapping into a very surprising power source. Okay, it's about creating the life you want. How to do that? By tapping into a very surprising power source. Now, to get started, let me ask you a question. It's not a trick question. It's just a very straightforward question that I need you to answer as honestly as you can. Okay? Now, here's the question. Are you happy with the path that you are traveling in life? Are you happy with the path that you're traveling in life? Now, are the personal, the professional, and the financial aspects of your life headed in a positive direction? And it doesn't really matter. You may be a student, you may be in high school, you may be a student in college, you may be an adult student, you may be a student of life, or you may be a professional. Maybe you're a family person, a home builder, or someone who goes out to work. Either way, you'll have a personal and also a professional or other side of you. And what I really want you to look at is whether you're really happy with the path that you're traveling right now, both from a personal, professional, and a financial aspect or perspective of your life. Are you headed in a positive direction? And you need to be absolutely honest with yourself for this to work, for this solution on how to create the life you want by tapping into this surprising power source to work for you. You need to be 100% honest with yourself. And remember, right now, it's just you and your God. No one else in between. Okay. Now, are you happy with the life where your life's headed, or are you constantly do you feel like you're constantly navigating troublesome relationships, disappointments at work, and financial struggles? Regardless of which aspects of life are displeasing right now, let me tell you that you have the power to tackle and overcome obstacles. And one of the key reasons is, just like I said earlier on, you're not alone. But there's something that you have to do, and that is the surprising power source that we're going to reveal to you today that you need to tap into. So it doesn't really matter whether it's your financial situation you feel may not be working right, and you feel like you're constantly going through financial struggles. Maybe it's that you're constantly navigating troublesome relationships, or maybe there are disappointments at school or at work. It doesn't really matter, because regardless of which element of life you may feel is displeasing, you do have the power to tackle and overcome any obstacle that's put in front of you. So this particular inspirational and motivational moment is going to help you discover and learn how to use your power source, not someone else's, your individual power source to create the life that you've always wanted. So let's look at this power source, your personal power source. That's what this thing is. It is yours. You own it. You've created it. It's certainly within you. However, for it to work for you, you need to tap into your personal power source. That's something we have to get very, very clear right now and right at the outset. Let me ask you another question. How many times have you said something like, I wish that wouldn't have happened, or maybe my life just isn't turning out the way that I'd like? How many times have you said something along those lines? You may not have used those exact words, but you've had those thoughts, or you may have uttered exactly the same words. Now, if you find yourself feeling like the world's mistreating you, and sometimes when I talk to people in the line of business that I do, people say to me, well, I feel that, life is mistreating me. Well, maybe it's time to look, guess where? Within. Maybe it's time for you to look within yourself for the life that seems to be eluding you. Now, if this doesn't sound that clear to you, I'm hoping that it is, but if it doesn't, don't worry, it's going to be crystal clear in just a moment. And remember, this is the inspirational and motivational moment on how to create the life you want by tapping into a very surprising power source. And by the way, this is nothing mystical. It's nothing to do with voodoo or black magic. This is down to earth, common sense, a set of simple steps that you can take. Because remember, each and every one of us, and that includes you, is a fraction or an element of God. Even if you don't believe God exists, that doesn't negate the fact that within you there is an element of God. It is that God source that keeps you awake during the day and allows you to do most things on autopilot. It's that fraction of God that's within you that allows you to go to sleep at night, controls all your bodily functions, and allows you to wake up the very next day. Literally wake up from being semi-dead, half dead. So, if you do find yourself feeling like the world is mistreating you, it's time for you to look within yourself for the life that actually is eluding you right now. So how are we going to do this? Well, here's the deal. I want to give you a few facts and some factors for you to consider in order to get to this surprising power source that we're talking about. So here's the first thing. Understand that the thoughts that you have, your thoughts and your behavior, they influence your life. Your thoughts and your behavior influence your life. Now, it may sound harsh. However, others in the world do not hold the key to the life that you seek. Let me repeat that. Others in the world, whether your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, your husband, your wife, the prophet in your church, the pastor or shepherd in charge in your church, or whomever you may look up to, they do not hold the key to the life that you seek. You are the only one who can make things happen in your life. How, you might be thinking? Well, here's the secret. You've got to tap into your personal power source, which is simply to take responsibility for your own existence. That is the surprising power source. When you take responsibility for your own existence, so many things are going to change. Part of taking responsibility, we've discussed that a little earlier on. Part of it is realizing that you are not just this flesh and blood that you see, that you are more than that, that within you, as I said earlier on, there is a fraction of God. Look at it this way. That fraction of God is the same thing as God itself. If you go to the ocean and you take a little with a teaspoon and you take just a little bit, a teaspoonful of ocean water, and you take it somewhere else, maybe even take it to a different country, guess what? That little piece of water is exactly the same as the ocean. It contains absolutely every single element, every single component as the water that's in the mighty ocean. That is the same thing with God and God's everything that is about God. God's being God is within you. However, one of the things you do have to do to start to make this happen is take responsibility for your own existence. Now, I'm reminded of a few biblical references, because you know that everything we do is based on the Word. We don't just make these things up. Back in the days of Jesus, when he was being tried and prosecuted, and you may have heard of Pontius Pilate, well, here's what the Bible tells us about responsibility as far back as those early days and Jesus' prosecution. Now in Matthew chapter 27 verse 24, it says, "So when Pilate saw that he was gaining nothing," and this is from, trying to get people to turn against Jesus, Pilate saw that he was gaining nothing, but rather that a riot was beginning. He took water and washed his hands before the crowd, saying, "I am innocent of this man's blood. See to it yourselves." Now, that's one example of not taking responsibility. Pilate, after everything that he had done, felt, you know what, I'm out of here. This isn't going the way that I want it to. And the same may be happening to you. Things may not be going the way you want them to, but you simply cannot just take water and literally wash your hands of everything that's going on and believe that it's then up to someone else to take care of your issues on your behalf. You do have to take responsibility for your own existence. That is one of the first things you have to do. And by the way, let me share something else with you. Actually, I'm going to share two things with you just to emphasize this point. And I find they're thought-provoking, but at the same time, they're pretty, I don't know if humorous is the best word to use, but let me just say what they are. And so in Genesis chapter 3, and this is from the story of the creation and the Garden of Eden. And if you don't know about it, all you need to do is grab a Bible and go to the chapters that we're mentioning here. The previous one was Matthew chapter 27 verse 24, and that was the story about Pontius Pilate not taking responsibility. And this one you can find in is from the story of the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve. And you know what happened there? The forbidden fruit and all that? Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about. So in Genesis chapter 3 verse 13, it reads, "Then the Lord God said to the woman, 'What is that you have done?' The woman said, 'The serpent deceived me, and I ate it.'" Not taking responsibility. But here's the piece that I really find interesting each time that I remember it and I go back and I read it. So in Genesis 3:12, Adam, the man, said, "The woman who you gave to me to be with me, she gave me the fruit of the tree and I ate it." So in Genesis chapter 3 verse 12, Adam's relieving himself or attempting to relieve himself of every iota of responsibility by saying, when God asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "The woman who you gave to be with me, she's the one who gave me the fruit of the tree, and all I did was I ate it." And the woman, Eve, said, when asked, "What is it that you have done?" she said, "The serpent deceived me and I ate it." Neither of them. So you see, not taking responsibility isn't something new. Neither of them wanted to accept responsibility. Okay? So one of the key factors I need you to consider if you want to create the life you want by tapping into this surprising power source. The surprising power source becomes effective, becomes powerful when you take responsibility for your own existence. The second factor I want you to consider in this is that you can reclaim your power. Now, inadvertently, we do give up our power to other people, to other things. Sometimes it's to people, sometimes it's to circumstances and situations, and we just go, that's it. Someone or something else will take care of it. I want you to know that you can reclaim your power. When you assume responsibility for the choices you make, you also regain control of your present and your future. So what do you have to do? You do have to assume, responsibility for the choices that you make, because that's going to allow you to regain control. Notice that I said regain control, not gain control, because your natural state is that you have control. Right from the beginning of time, God gave us dominion, control over literally everything. But we give up that control one way or the other. So the second factor I need you to consider is that you can reclaim your power, irrespective of how you might be feeling right now about the things that may be going on in your life, personally, professionally, or financially. Okay? So what you have to do, the second thing you have to do, the first one was what? Take responsibility for your own existence. Don't be like Pilate, Adam, or Eve. The second thing is that the second factor that I need to consider is that you can reclaim your power, okay, which will allow you to regain control of your present and your future. The third thing, the third thing out of the 5 things that I want to share with you today about how to create the life you want by tapping into this surprising power source is that you can create the life that you want. You absolutely can do that. Remember, you're not out of control. You're not broken. You're not scratched. You have the power to create the life you want. What is it you want? I don't need to know that. But I guarantee that whatever it is you want, in whatever area of your life that you wanted, you can create it by taking responsibility for a number of things. By taking responsibility for your thoughts, by taking responsibility for your feelings, and by taking responsibility for your actions. So to create the life that you want, and it doesn't matter whatever it is that you want, in whatever area of your life, personally or professionally, you have to take responsibility for your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. The fourth thing I want to share with you in how to create the life you want by tapping into these elements, these personal PowerPoints and situations and gifts. These are just states that you already have, that God has given you, and you're not the only one if you feel you're not doing these things, that God has given you, that somehow you've given them to other people or other things. These are just things you need to consider and follow through on in order to create the life you want by tapping into this amazing power source within you, that fraction of God that's within you. You've got to understand that to be responsible is to be accountable. To be responsible is to be accountable. When you're responsible, you become accountable for the choices that you make. In essence, you have an obligation to yourself to make the decisions that will lead you down the path you wish to go. Now, you make decisions that will lead you down the path who wants to go, you wish to go. Being responsible is one thing, because we've mentioned so far that, number one, you've got to take responsibility for your own existence. We said that you can reclaim your power and you can create the life you want. It's about being responsible. That is the big secret here. But not only being responsible, it's also about being accountable. Because once you become responsible, you also, they go hand in hand. You become accountable for any choice that you make, whether it's to do again with your personal life, your professional life, or your finances. You have an obligation, now that you know, to make the decisions that will lead you down the path that you wish to go. If you didn't know this up until this point in time, well, you do know now, and so you don't have any excuses for not doing what it is that you have to do. And I'm reminded of something in the Bible in Ezra chapter 10, verse 4, where it says, "Arise, for it is your task, and we are with you. Be strong and do it." Do you hear that? In Ezra chapter 10, verse 4, it says, "Arise, get up, for it is your task, not someone else's, and we are with you. Be strong and do it." Okay. Now, in the fifth and final factor in this life system that we're sharing through this inspirational and motivational moment is that you've got to stay in touch with what you want in life. That's, in the world we say it's a no-brainer. It's one of those things that you hear and you go, well, duh. Okay, you have to stay in touch with what you want in life. You've got to stay psychologically and emotionally connected to your life goals in order to reach the end result. It's just not possible for you to check out mentally and say, well, I don't know, if it happens, it happens, whatever will be, or for you to check out emotionally. It's not possible for you to do that and stay in touch with whatever you want in life. Psychologically means you have a positive attitude and you look at the positives as opposed to the negatives. Unfortunately, most people, their default mode is negative thinking, expecting negative things to happen, and trying to fight off negative things. But here's the truth. As I've said earlier on, you have a fraction of God within you. There's no need for you to be fearful, to be trying to fight off those things that you believe are going to get you down. You're waging psychological warfare against yourself. And when you have these negative emotions, then emotionally you will not be connected to your life goals, and it becomes extremely difficult to actually reach them. So taking responsibility for yourself and your decisions is going to logically move you towards your goal. Now, any goals you have. Now notice nothing here, nothing that I've mentioned today that you've listened to is beyond what you can do, or maybe something or some things that you were doing at some point in time. Now, if you're the homemaker, you're someone responsible for others, in 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 8 it says, "But if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for members of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." Now, you may be the head of the home, you may be a contributor to what goes on within the home. You may be a contributor to something at work, you may be a contributor to some financial situation. And when we talk about relatives in the body of Christ, we're not just talking about those who share the same name or who are brothers and sisters or other household members. Our relatives, we believe, are everyone that's a child of God. Now, I won't say everyone that people consider, but the fact that you don't consider someone to be a child of God is neither here nor there. We were all created by the same maker, irrespective of your faith, irrespective of what you believe. Okay? The fact is, all of us have that same fraction of the Creator within us. That is something that we're not even going to go talk about that. We're not going to get into a debate about that because that just is. But as I said earlier on, every one of us, each one of us will have to bear our own load. So in conclusion, taking responsibility for all facets of your life gives you the power to move forward to where you want to be, not other people. And now you can't blame other people for your circumstances, for your situation, for anything that may not be happening the way you want it to be or you'd prefer it to be, personally, professionally, or financially, because you know there is a solution. The solution is what we've just gone over, the 5 steps we've gone over, which I'll run again with you as we close this out. Give yourself the power to move forward to where you want to be, despite whatever challenges you might encounter. There's something within you that's much, much greater than anything outside of you, be it a circumstance, be it a situation, be it a thought, be it something that someone says, or things that people don't say that might benefit you. It doesn't matter. You need to take responsibility for all facets of your life so that you give yourself the power to move forward and you gather momentum so that you move closer to where you want to be, irrespective of whatever challenges you might encounter. And that last piece of that statement is really, really significant. Notice that I didn't say take responsibility for all areas of your life so that you have the power to move forward to where you want to be and there won't be any challenges. Challenges, they're a fact of life. There are things we go through in order to grow. Okay, just like building muscle, just like wanting to be healthy or fit, we have to go through something to get to that end goal. So it will always happen. But now you know what you need to do. Number one, to reduce the amount of challenges that you might encounter. And you also know right now the things that you need to do. And I remember the words of Dennis Waitley, lived back in the day. What Dennis Waitley said is there are two primary choices in life: to accept conditions as they exist or accept the responsibility for changing them. Very powerful statements. And so let me just run through the factors you need to consider. The first one is your thoughts and behaviors influence your life. Therefore, you have to take responsibility for your own existence. The second factor in this equation of creating a life you want by tapping into the surprising power source which is within you, which is the fraction of God that's within you, that you allow to move and make things happen by taking responsibility for your own existence. I mean, you've got to give God a hand here. You've been created. Play your own part. Number two, you can reclaim your power. Number three, you can create the life that you want. Number four, understand that to be responsible is to be accountable. And finally, number five, to create the life you want by tapping into this surprising power source of God within you, you have to stay in touch with what you want in life. And so that's the end of today's inspirational and motivational moment. In another upcoming inspirational motivational moment, we're going to look at, because I've mentioned thoughts here and how they impact you, and I've mentioned the fact that you do need to be responsible and take action. We're going to look at the power of the way you think about the things you think also create the life that you experience that you may not want, or that you're getting that you feel so great about. But that's in another upcoming inspirational and motivational moment. But for now, this is saying goodbye from this inspirational and motivational moment, sponsored by the Celestial Church of Christ, Prince of Peace Parish number 3, Omo Alade Alafia, and we're based at 150 South Kennedy Drive in Carpentersville, Illinois 60110, or you can also go to our website. You're more than welcome. We actually invite you to get to know Christ. We'd love to lead you to Christ, as well as to come and grow with us. And you can get more information at cccprinceofpeace.com, and from there you can connect with us on social media. God bless.
We are on a holy mission, moving with a vision, we're on a holy mission, moving with a vision.